planted by someone who only imagined me. What love, what vision, I marvel at the gift. No fruit could be sweeter than this. I'm standing on the shoulders of the ones who came before me.
Today we're speaking with Rabbi Gala about Temple Beth-El reaching an amazing milestone of 65 years.
The Bible says that those who are truly blessed are those who live to see their children's children. That for me is the great joy of this 65th anniversary, that we now have multiple generations of Temple Beth-El. We have many of our founders still with us, and they get to celebrate that we have their children, their children's children, and some even great-grandchildren. But Temple Beth-El has always been a place that knows and understands what it's about. And the most wonderful thing about the generations from one to the other is that the essential spirit of what makes Temple Beth-El what it is has remained unchanged and intact and strong throughout all these years. So it's great to celebrate with our founders, with our past presidents whom we honor on our 65th, and with those who are newest to Temple Beth-El, who represent the future that will be a continuation of a glorious past.
I love this temple. It's my baby. My children enjoyed the Sunday school here. We felt that it was important to give our children a good education in Judaism. And so we made in Sunday school, and it was in our first temple, which was above Price's store. We had to climb 3 flights. I'm not sure that I can do that now. And we had to fix the whole room up, and we painted it, and we put drapes up and got furniture from other temples, and we have a sanctuary. And then we needed a Sunday school, so we divided the big room with sheets, and we had several classes, and I taught one, and it was really, really great. And the kids still keep their Judaism.
Hi, I'm Alta Malberg, chair of Temple Beth-El's 65th anniversary party. We are here to celebrate our temple and to honor 5 former presidents. I am interviewing all honorees today and would like to find out from each one which moment at our temple stands out in their memory and why.
Good evening, folks. What a privilege it is to be honored tonight as having the world's greatest lay job in Temple Beth-El, which is that of past president. Now I want to go back a little bit. Years ago, Betty and I had gone to an art show in an area that's very close to here, and it dawned on me this would be a great idea for our temple to raise some funds. And I went to the board meeting with this brilliant idea, and Jane Tapper, who was a board member at the time, who had just run something big herself, said, "Okay, Art, you're the person to do it." And then we organized. We had people who were on committees of all sorts. There was one who picked up the art. There were some who picked up, made the possibility of having the tickets taken, the food, the everything you could think of had to be done by us. And it was. And so the art show was not only a fundraiser, but it turned out to be a friend raiser. And because everybody got involved. We decided to have it. We had it in what was then the sanctuary at Altamont Place, which was the old carriage house. And in the carriage house, we turned that from a place of worship into a wonderful art museum. And a lot of people in the community came, so it turned out this was a huge community event.
During my term as president of the Temple Beth-El board, we had outgrown the facility at Altamont Place, and we set up a search committee, and they came up with this property on Route 206 and the building, which was the regional headquarters for Agway Corporation. We still use the Altamont Place Sanctuary, Carriage House Sanctuary, and the house for our school, but we had too many school kids that we could not accommodate. Fortunately, Monsignor Kelly of Immaculate Conception offered us the use of the Immaculate Conception School in Somerville for our overflow kids. Our neighbors across the street who were Catholic had their kids go to catechism while our kids went to Sunday school in the same building at the same time. We therefore had a carpool where they dropped them off and we picked them up, and it was a perfect symbiotic relationship.
As with many of the people who have been longtime members of Temple Beth-El, it's hard to focus on just one thing as most memorable. But one event does stand out. Early in her presidency, Liz Cohen decided to help concentrate the Temple's efforts by focusing on a vision statement. That seemed easy. The UAHC had a booklet on how to write one and how to use it, and I assumed that everyone who had been active at the Temple would have some rough vision in mind. So I said yes when she asked me to do it. It should have been no problem. Wrong. We asked every member, with the help of a consultant, every member of the board, to tell us why he or she had become involved in Temple life. There was further discussion. With all of the information, we were able to draft a vision statement. Then, an expert member of the congregation helped the task force and the board see how well our draft statement fit with the realities of Temple Beth-El. That led to more input and more discussion. Finally, we had a draft ready for final comment from the board and approval. That vision statement is what now anchors the Temple's website and is the first page of the notebook that each new member of the board receives. I'm very proud of the work that everyone in the Temple did in preparing the vision statement. I am even more proud of the way that that vision statement has continued to focus the activities here at Temple Beth-El. It provides us with an idea of where we are going. It provides us with a sense of what the congregation is all about. And most importantly, it provides a statement that we share with the world of the vision here at Temple Beth-El.
The moment at Temple Beth-El that stands out in my memory occurred 37 years ago. It stands out in my memory because it typifies the spirit of Temple Beth-El. Immediately following the conclusion of the very first Friday night service that my family and I attended, we were approached by and greeted by congregant Karen, who also warmly welcomed us. She also invited Anita and I to a party to be held next week at the home of congregants Phyllis and Herb of blessed memory. Now, Phyllis and Herb were not at the Friday night service, and having never met us, were quite surprised to find us at their house, perfect strangers, at that party. Nonetheless, they welcomed us warmly, as did the others attending the party. We became good friends with Phyllis and Herb and the others. Situations have changed. Some people have moved away. Unfortunately, some people have passed away. Nonetheless, we have remained good friends with many of those people and have through the years made many more friends here at Temple. People and the warm welcoming of strangers are the very essence of Temple Beth-El.
Good evening. In the summer of 1969, our daughter Becky came to us and said, "Am I going to go to some kind of Jewish Sunday school in the fall?" And we said, "I don't know. Why do you ask?" And she said, "Well, if I'm not going to go to a Jewish Sunday school, I'm going to go to church with the neighbors." So that sent us on a expedition. And we looked around and we found Temple Beth-El. Now, my husband, Joe, came from a very Orthodox background, which he did not want to continue. I came from a totally secular Jewish home and knew nothing. So we looked around and we found Temple Beth-El. We decided to go to our first service, which happened to be the Friday night of the last service that was in Somerville before we moved into this current building. So we came and we met some very lovely, friendly people who are still friends to this day. We sat through the service. 90% of it was in English, including the songs. There was an organ accompanying the singing, and the men had their heads uncovered. The final hymn was, "All the world will come to save you and bless your glorious name." So we stayed till the end of the service. We went to the Oneg, and then we left. And on the way to the car, my husband stopped and said to me, "What kind of church was that?" But we joined, and we've been here ever since, and it will be 50 years next year. Thank you.
I am here with the Malberg brothers, Mark, my husband, Ed, my brother-in-law, who grew up as the only Jews in Hillsborough. They are here to relate some brief memories. Mark.
We went to Somerville High School because Hillsborough didn't have a high school. And at that time in Somerville, there were 3 congregations. It was Anshe Chesed, Beth Israel, and of course, Temple Beth-El. And during the high holidays, they would welcome students, no matter what the parents' affiliation, if any. And they were all within walking distance of each other. So a group of us teenage boys would do what we called temple hopping, going from service to service to be sure we'd be able to see all the pretty girls in town.
I like that. Ed.
One of the things that many people comment on is having had our mother as a teacher. We had enjoyed in Sunday school her ability to write plays, scripts, tell wonderful stories. We were, all of us, my brother, my 2 sisters, and I, had finished religious school, Sunday school, by the time my parents joined Temple Beth-El. But she continued to have that same wonderful effect on students. And among the things that she did, that Mark, I'm sure, remembers as well, is that on the way to and from Sunday school and within her Sunday school class, she used a number of amazing ditties. For example, her take on Torah in just a few verses. Old folks, young folks, everybody come to our Sunday school and have a lot of fun. Leave your chewing gum and tobacco at the door, and you'll hear some Bible stories that you'll never heard before. The earth was built in 6 days and finished on the 7th. According to the contract, it should have been the 11th. The masons and the carpenters got drunk and wouldn't work, so the quickest way to do it was to fill it up with dirt. Oh, young folks, everybody come to our Sunday school and have a lot of fun. Leave your chewing gum and tobacco at the door, and you'll hear some Bible stories that you never heard before.
for